To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs.
From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items.
Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
There's very few places where drivers can turn around an entire season. When you get into a chase format, that's exactly what you're going to have to do. But here tonight, from the virtual Talladega Super Speedway, it's the 29 Graphics Talladega race for Saturday Night Racing League. Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper. And of course, alongside Connor Horn all season long here. Connor, Talladega is one of those tracks that got kind of an asterisk because anybody, but not everybody, can have an opportunity to win this race.
Yeah, and we will see everyone at the front trying to have an opportunity to win this race. We are in the next-gen cars again, which really and truly means anyone can win this race. It is so much more of a variable product than the Xfinity cars or even the trucks. So this is going to be a pretty wild race. We saw a wild race at Daytona, saw a lot of cautions, saw a lot of different leaders. What we did see Darrell Young and the teammate of his kind of dominate the line back at Daytona all the way in January, but they weren't able to win. It was Reggie Ortega leading one lap, and that's all he needed to take checkered flag. And that is, to date, his only victory of the season. Like I said, it was a crazy race, 6 cautions in an 80-lap race, and we will see if we have the same. We had yellow fever last week, 15 yellows at North Wilkesboro. Much different product this week, though.
And for this week, of course, like we said, the next-gen car, it's going to be a lot different than what we've seen for most of this season. Actually, pretty much all of it, with the exception of Daytona. And it's been a while since these drivers have been in this car. So we were talking to some of these guys there last night and pre-race. They're feeling it. I mean, the runs that you get in this machine, they're insane. Quick look at the track map. You get that long back straightaway, and you're going to see these cars almost rocket ship past each other. If you can get a lane and you can find a place on the outside, there's a good chance that you can get a pass here.
Yeah, and we'll probably see everything going down that Alabama Gang super stretch. We'll see 3 wide. There's definitely room for 4 wide, and I would not be surprised to see drivers try that this week. Heck, we saw 4 wide last week at North Wilkesboro. We could easily see it this week. 2.66 mile racetrack. This 80-lap race is going to go by pretty fast, and we should see, if it went green, it should be a 2-stop race. No point in trying to make it lap 40. Won't happen, so that will be pretty close, and we'll see what these drivers can do with that. We'll have 3 green white checkered attempts. We used up at least 1 at Daytona, and we'll see if we have to use any this week. We had a long green flag run the end last week. Pit road speed 60 miles an hour. Pit road entry. If we have to make green flag pit stops, that can make or break your race as well.
It's like landing a 747 is what it's equated to as a passenger.
One-lane road.
So, yeah, it's a difficult pit road. Try doing that with about 16 other airplanes coming in right next to you. But let's go over the details here tonight for the 29 Graphics Talladega Challenge. Most laps led will get 1 free paint scheme here tonight. And, of course, all this provided from the sponsor of today's race. Most laps led will also get one free paint scheme. Lap leader at lap 29 gets $29. Race winner, a three-piece here for paint schemes. And Connor, you mentioned something about a pole award, so let's go ahead and carry over to that because we've got that pole award coming up right now. Starting on that pole here tonight with a 53.013. It's going to be Mark Whitley in the 77 next to Brandon Fetterplace. I almost butchered that one. I got it, though. He'll be in the 34 car. Starting in row number 2, Daryl Young with Adam Cabot in the 17 machine. Then row number 3, the fan favorite here, Jeff Wright with Ben Bafford in the 6th spot. Mike George is going to start 7th with Bailey Turner in that throwback 24 DuPont. And then rounding out your top 10 here tonight, it's Caleb Weekly and Chad Klinger.
Then 11th place, one of our chase drivers, Alex Bell, in sort of a Dale Senior Toyota. I think that's, I don't think you could do that. But either way, he's running it. He's in 11th. AJ Stravato making another start. He'll be 12th. Jerry Bergeron in his Chevy Camaro, 13th. Brandon Wallace, 14th in the number 99. 15th position, Bryce Shoemaker, 5th in the points, I believe, for him coming in tonight. No, it's Bryce Shoemaker, excuse me. Bryce Shoemaker, yes, he's 15th, 5th in points. Robert Denton, 16th position starting tonight. Keith Licata, 17th, his first start of the chase. He did not race last week. Ray Massey, winner at Chicagoland, starts 18th. 19th position, Joseph McWhorter, who's 17 points back of Jeff Wright coming into tonight. Philip Brewer starts in the 20th position.
21st, Nick Alford with Mark McFadden. Then we have Joshua Banks, Nick Starling side by side, 23rd and 24th. They gave us another lap. I appreciate that, Jeff.
Yeah.
Angelo Heronis is going to start in 25th tonight. We had a lot to cover here. Kyle Peacock in 26th spot. We got 33 cars out here tonight. Chuck Sweeting, the rough season here. Hopefully he can turn this thing around and get a win here tonight. Reggie Ortega in 28th. It's Keith Shoemaker and Max Cost in 29th and 30th. Here comes 3 more cars at you. Gavin Pittman in the 22. Julio Villalobos Jr. Okay, that one, actually not gridded here tonight. And then we have Stephon Davis rounding out the field. So actually 32 out there. But Julio is 29 Graphics. He is the sponsor of this event here tonight. Thought we might see him out there on the racetrack, but, I think he's just one of those guys that's like, well, I'd hate to go up there and lead every lap and win my money and win my paint schemes, So he's going to sit trackside for us tonight.
Yeah, and it should be an interesting race regardless with 30-plus in this field. We'll just have to wait and see how this plays out in this short run, because it's going to be the beginning of the run is going to be sort of a feeling out process for a lot of these drivers who haven't ran a cup car at a super speedway in weeks. If you're in a fixed when the real life Cup Series was at Talladega, then you have a little bit of practice because it's pretty much the same feeling, same type of setup, but it's going to be a completely different crop of drivers you're going to have to be dealing with. Can I work with this person? Do they take bumps well? Can they push me to the front? Do we work together well? It's going to be a bunch of questions that everyone's going to be asking. Everyone's in this field is going to try to be answering it early on to see who they want to work with near the end of a race. I think we'll see the 24, 48, 17. I think we'll see those types of drivers working together at some point. I'm sure Daryl Young will be trying to dominate like he did at Daytona, but was not able to get the win, even though he led the most laps at Daytona. But we'll see if he can change that, as it looks like we're going to have 3 drivers starting from the pits. One of those is Adam Cabot, Philip Brewer, and Villalobos in his car. So we might see those 3 kind of hang back and start from the pits, hope for an early yellow.
Yeah, and it's easy here as we talk about, hey, let's plan this thing out. But nothing ever goes according to plan here. You can only adapt and overcome to your surroundings, and you're going to have a lot of surroundings here for the next 80 laps. Here we go for race number 17. Pace car is going to get out of the way, and Mark Whitley is going to unleash the next gen here for Saturday Night Racing League. On the front row, Fetter Place, Whitley, green flags out. We're live from Talladega, race 17. would you look at that? Who would have imagined that the 09 of Chad Klinger would get connected with Jeff Wright? They're going to lead lap number 1, but Ben Baffert says, hey, my turn. I'm going to go to the inside. That's the kind of runs that you get in this car. It's almost like a rocket ship for about, 1,600 feet, and then the momentum just dies.
Yeah, and you really got to be packed up and on each other's bumpers to get a run like that, like they did down the back straightaway. You can't rest. It's not like you can sit in line. This is a bump drafting type of package. You have to be bumper to bumper. You might see a 4-car tandem. We're even seeing that on the bottom line. Baffert, Whitley, Stravato, and Darrell Young all on the bottom. And you can see they're staying pretty far apart, or at least as I say that. Jeff Wright goes to the middle. Chad Klinger's not going to go with him. Now he gets back in line, but you really want to stay away from that bottom line, or you're trying to stay spaced apart because the side draft is so strong. If you're staying next to someone close in, you're just going to slow both lanes down. So not something you really want to do. We should see these lanes at least a groove apart. As that smoke is not going away as the 48 goes up the track, but they keep it straight. I don't know why that smoke's not going away. Nothing's happened, but Darrell Young's now caught in the middle.
Oh, they don't want the smoke. They're here right in the middle back here with Robert and Bailey Turner. There was Darrell Young, Robert Denton. They all got 3 wide. They're still trying to figure it out here. Denton looks like he's out of shape. The 70 falling down the middle into the sucker hole and down to the bottom now. There's so many opportunities here to get shuffled out of line. But you saw that what the leaders were doing. Ben Baffert kind of threw a wrench in the whole thing.
And you can see now that top line has moved pretty much to the outside wall, just following Baffert in, and that's what created that sucker hole in the middle that Darrell Young fell into. Actually just got back in the middle, but he has no help. But that's something we're going to see. We're going to see one lane probably on the top for most of this race, but you're going to see that bottom lane just ride that yellow line. We might even see later in the race, you might see that bottom line stay near the bottom in the corners and come up down the straightaway just to side draft that outside line back, but not seeing it quite yet. But we are seeing drivers like Alex Bell, Darrell Young, and I think that shows McWhorter middle, trying to go through the middle, but no run quite yet.
We have a 29 graphics Vspeed machine there. Reggie Ortega on the outside now drops down to the middle with Bailey Turner in front of the 15, riding on board with Alex Bell. And yeah, it looks like the middle line is getting a good head of steam, but to what cost here? Because you're going to get this run, and you're going to overheat. By the time that this 24 is able to push that 23 up there, now they've got the side force from the inside and the outside. It's going to be difficult, but look at that. They proved me wrong. Shoot right out of the cannon, up the middle, almost take Bell with them. That was quite the move there for the 24 and 23.
They got unhooked on both the third lane and the bottom lane, but now they're hooked up on the top lane again, where Wright and Klinger will go back to the lead, at least lead into turn number 3. But what was important, what we saw Bailey Turner doing, he was pushing on the left rear quarter panel. In real life and even in iRacing, it is a death sentence, but in the way this car is set up, if you push on the left rear quarter panel, or at least on the left rear of the bumper, that's the fastest, that's the best way to bump draft for speed. If you bump draft on the right rear bumper of that bumper, it does not go nearly as fast. It even slows you down because you kind of have that side draft hurting you a little bit. So it is a dangerous game bump drafting on that left rear. That's how you make speed, but it's probably how we're going to see crashes made, because you can see how much faster it is even through the corner. The 23, 24 get way past. And Mark Whitley goes to the outside of both of them.
So another thing that's a factor, you can't really do it with the other cars in this sim, but you can go probably 3 cars deep. You'll see that, especially here with 5 laps to go, that usually the third guy in line starts to push, and that's another death sentence in any other car in the sim. But you can kind of get away with it in this car, so long as you do it subtle. You can't just go full force like you can directly behind a guy. You will turn the guy in the middle, and of course we've seen things like that happen, unfortunately, at Daytona. That car and that setup was a lot looser, I think, than what we're running here today. These guys look a lot more in shape.
Much less handling dependent at a track like this. Daytona, you still got some bumps. Lot less room to work with at Daytona. You would not be able to do 3 wide comfortably at Daytona. I don't think we really saw much of it back in January, but yeah, we're definitely going to see these drivers all over the track a little bit more than we saw. And like you were talking about, which is a good point, you don't really want to push the pusher. Yes, you can get away with it, but if you try to slam draft someone and slam draft the pusher, it's not going to work. And we saw that become an issue at Daytona as well. Yes, the 3+ car tango can work, but One thing that these drivers get too comfortable with sometimes is slam drafting and just not lifting for the driver ahead because the cars are so stable with a bump draft. But you can't really get away with that if it's more than one other car. You gotta know who you're pushing. If you're pushing someone who's not as experienced, they're still probably gonna spin out.
So I got to mention here, big mover in this race so far. Kyle Peacock started back in 26th position. He's up to third now. And then on his outside, another pretty big mover in this race, Ray Massey. He's up 13 spots in the 23. So the Clark Print Shop machine. And then we've got a Bass Pro Shops 83. Working their way up through this field. Everybody trying to get up there and lead lap 29. That's what it's all about right now for these guys. Kind of a stage break mentality. There's some real life money on the line. We're not racing for stage points. We're racing for cash.
He's got these chase drivers are racing for points, but they might not be too worried about the cash if it means they don't have to get wrecked out, because we might see the anticipation and all the aggression ramp up at that point. We'll see if the fuel can even make it there, the 85% fuel tank. Usually it's a stretch to make it to about 35, 40 laps on a tank in these Cup cars, but the tanks are bigger, so we'll see these drivers probably try to stretch it as we're three wide. Villalobos is going to go to the inside, be the first driver one lap down. It looked like Baffert was the one who forced the issue to the middle, and we have about 4 or 5 cars clear from that 3x3.
So let's take a good look here at the 29 graphics. It looks like the 45 had to grid from the pits. Unfortunately, did not make the cut there on the time to get out there with the pace car. But has picked up the pack now. He'll be 1 lap down. But this, these guys that were floating here in the back, just hanging on the edge of the draft, they've picked him up. So that could bail him out. And, you know, if this race goes green by some long shot and stretch of the imagination, I don't think it will. I mean, how many times have we ever seen that? Not to be pessimistic, but, you know, it's Talladega. Guys are going to get anxious here with probably 10, 15 to go. They're going to start making moves that they wouldn't otherwise make.
Yeah, we're going to start to see the bump draft and get more aggressive later in this race as well. We just saw Wright and Turner go 200 in the turn number 3, and those speeds might even pick up later as the bump drafting gets more intense. If that is even possible, but it will be possible. And we'll see the side drafting get crazier as well. And not a lot of drivers are really messing with it currently. Everyone's kind of staying far away from one another when they're 2 wide, but 3 wide, you can't really help it. As Turner leads, Wright second, Klinger, Bell, Peacock, they are young, all those drivers trying to fight for that top 5 position. We're already 10 laps clear, and you can see now, as I say that, Bell and the 83 got a great run on the bottom, but Jeff Wright and Bailey Turner, they both came down to side draft and kind of stall that run out.
Yeah, they shut it down. They came all the way down 2 lanes just at the end of that exit, and that's really where that side force comes into play, because that inside line, especially through the corners, is a little bit quicker. It is the shorter way around the racetrack, so it does make sense that they'll gain a little bit of ground. Now having to play some offense on the outside. Third line develops again. That's the 70 of Darrell Young. They close the door up along the wall, and now Kyle Peacock's going to go back to the middle line. These guys are kind of flirting with disaster on these line changes, Connor.
Joseph McWhorter almost got walled by, I think it was the 09 of Chad Klinger, who almost put him in the wall in the trial, but we're back to that 3 wide action. You don't get a break with this package unless you're in the second pack. There might be 8 or 9 cars in that second pack, but if you're in this 3 wide action in the front of this pack, you do not get a break. You have to be 100% paying attention to what's going on. You have to pay attention to the runs behind you, to the checkups in front of you. You got to make sure you're not getting ran into from your sides. It is a stressful mental situation you put yourself in when you run 80 laps or sometimes more at a track like this, when you have absolutely no break besides maybe pit stops, unless you get that yellow.
On board with Better Place, and he is currently in 6th. Started in 2nd here today on the outside row, or the outside of the front row. But, you know, just clicking the laps away, I don't think he's in a real big hurry. He's definitely shown the speed. Well, I got a question for you, Connor.
What's that question?
A 24 car, if he leads the most laps, which he's well on track to do so far, what will he put on that machine that he hasn't already put on it? I mean, he's at every Jeff Gordon throwback that I can imagine.
Probably throw back to like a 2009 scheme he won at Texas with.
Oh,
His right throws a big block on one of the Harpoon Racing cars. I think that was Daryl Young. I don't think they want. We saw at Daytona how well those Harpoon Racing team cars worked. They pretty much controlled the race at Daytona. They are trying hard to not let that happen, but you got 3 of those cars on the top lane with Daryl Young leading.
He's going to peak just past as we're going to take a look down here at Bailey Turner. That rocket ship up the middle. Some side force and a pinch here. They get clear. So many different transitions on this racetrack, and the 77 and 70 just rocking on by down the back straightaway. They actually push out really far ahead of McWhorter, who's one of the teammates on here, trying to keep pace with them. I think if he was locked in with those 3 or those 2 in front of him, they probably would have cleared for the lead.
But not quite yet. A little testing for the end of the race maybe, because during this race, unless you time it right, you do not want to get out that far ahead. No matter how much you're pushing, how hard you're pushing, they will always get a bigger run behind you if you get far out ahead. So those 2 got to be careful of that. McWhorter's got to be aware of that as well, but they're exactly where they want to be at the top of the track so they can't get side drafted on the right side, and they're controlling the race at the front of that line.
You see right there in the mirror of the number 70 of Young. And then, you know, of course, we're going to break the camera right there. Give another little shot to keep him in the lead. Alex Bell back to the point. He's figured out a hole here. Worked that outside. Now drops down in front of the 23 of Ben Bafford. Or, excuse me. Ben Bafford, actually the 14 on your scoring chart. Ray Massey drives the 23. Yeah, you get what I mean.
He decided not to update his next-gen car. It's his 3rd or 4th start in the series. Won last week at North Wilkesboro, and he's going to push that 15 way to the front. It just seems like you can't dominate by pinching that bottom lane the same way you could at Daytona. I think part of that is because you have way more lanes to work with, way more grip, and a lot more of the track to work with. So you really can't completely destroy everyone, but you can really pull away from the field if you want to. I didn't think you'd get that far ahead with a tandem. And Stravado's just tagging onto them is best, but those 2 got so far ahead, and there's no way that will be sustained because, like you were talking about earlier, Bafford is going to have to lift and kind of preserve the engine, and then you'll see another tandem in Whitley and Young get right back to the front. Is this 2024 or 2011?
Yeah, it's what I'm looking at the was it the COT where it just tandem draft and you watch packs of 2. That's essentially what we have going on here. As you see the 83 of Peacock get to the back bumper, Jeff Wright. I think the 24 thought about going down there. They're actually playing defense here on the outside line, so I think this is kind of a work together strategy for these guys right here. But they're losing.
And you could see right at the front, you could see Whitley and Young. They want that outside because they can do this. They can side draft Bell and Bafford and keep them at bay. What that'll do is let Bailey Turner get a run back. But like you said, he's playing defense. He had to block Joseph McWhorter in there. Him and Jeff Wright controlling the middle and top lines of the main pack. But now you got about six cars ahead of that main pack. 48 has a big run as Bell leads another lap. And this is all practice for the end of the race. This is stuff to note if we get a late race restart and have a sprint to the finish. These tandems getting away like that could be something we see as Bafford went for the lead, but Stravado, he will go with him. And now we're stacked up again. That's not going to work. Oh, they saved it somehow. Oh, no, they didn't.
There it goes.
Oh.
There it is, lap 18. 34's involved. So Fetter Place, I think it starts right about there in about the 8th position. They just stacked up accordion effect and, well.
Joshua Banks got a lot of damage out of that. Tied for 2nd in the points. He has a decent bit of left front damage.
You've probably heard this before, Connor, but it only takes 1.
It does only take 1, and it just seemed like, you know, the way the energy in these next-gen cars work, if you get a stack up at the front, it goes all the way to the back, and everyone comes right back in the middle of each other. And that is so easy to happen with this package. That seemed like a case of that. It also seemed like a case of someone trying to avoid a crash by kind of swerving out of the way. We look at the Vspeed instant replay. Mark Whitley, I think he sees a hole and just gets closed. And then they all stack up. The Wendy's car gets a shot, and it's on from there.
I think it was a Ride or Fry machine on the back of that. I was trying to get a good look at that. Let's go on board here with the 34 because ultimately he gets just thrown out of this.
Robert Denton was the Wendy's machine that ends up being like the deciding factor in that. Kind of, yeah, that 34 got beat around a decent bit.
That's my second favorite flavor of Ghost Energy. Unfortunately, gets damaged here. My first favorite? Take a guess.
I don't know Ghost
I've
Energy
said
that
it on
much.
I've said it on the broadcast so many times here. I'm ashamed of you here. I thought you would know.
I don't know if you said it that many times. I don't drink Ghost. I don't drink Ghost Energy.
I don't think anyone should drink them. Pretty sure there's some kind of illegal substance in there that gives you the energy. Doesn't feel like it should be illegal. But here we go. Pit stops. It's orange creamsicle, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Top tier.
Write it on my notepad.
Yeah. You know, my birthday's coming up. So, Mark Whitley is going to be up here. Looks like a couple drivers just topping off with fuel. A few drivers take tires. But Joseph McWhorter is going to win the race off of pit road with a 10.7 in the box there. And then it's Jeff Wright, Philip Brewer in the 44 out here. I remember Philip Brewer's debut started out a little rough. He's had some ups and downs. He's had a couple top 10s here, but he's also had a struggle at times. It seems like a couple guys not very fond of him at a couple races as well. I want to keep in mind there the 35, I believe, got a penalty for one of their altercations. So, but I would like to see the 44 have a good day here today. Unfortunately for him, I don't think he's found any partners just yet, and he's worked his way up here. Kind of missed the box there, so doesn't look like a good start. He had 19 in the lane, but no stop here for the 44. He's probably going to bring it back down pit road.
I would think so, but he won't be at the very tail of the field. A lot of drivers had to take repairs. Brandon Wallace he might have gotten the worst damage. I think that 99's even towed out a little bit. You can see it's kind of grab walking. So he took a big hit somewhere that we didn't see. Mark Whitley had to repair damage, obviously Fetter place. Daryl Young, was pretty dominant at Daytona, he has to fix the punched-in nose on that 70. And Joshua Banks, one of our championship contenders. I haven't talked about the championship points that much, but the lead has been stable over the first races of the chase. Jeff Wright is still 17 points clear of Banks and Joseph McWhorter coming into tonight. But thankfully, these next-gen cars, and really any car at the new damage model, is it even new anymore? Let's just call it the damage model.
Yeah, it's the damage model.
The damage model, you can pretty much repair it as long as you just get everything repaired. You should be able to fully repair it. So Banks should be clear and fine to stay in this race. Daryl Young waited a little too long. He's going to go a lap down. Did not beat the pace car out, but we're looking at our chase standings here. This is what we're working with coming in tonight. It's really a little bit of a 3-horse race with 4 races to go. Ryan Carwell with that win at Atlanta, 36 back. Shoemaker, 48 back. And a very tight battle for that 5th position. Those top 5th through 8th. Really 5th through 9th separated by 13 points, so very tight around that position. But those top 3 are what we're looking at. They won 10 races combined this season for a reason.
So here we sit right now with the first part of this challenge coming up in just a few laps. And we'll take the green. We'll be kind of in this little short sprint to lap 29. So we want to pay close attention to who gets that. I'm excited to see. We've got a couple different guys up here on the front that have been up here all day, but look at Nick Alford, up 17 positions. So he's up into the top 5 for the first time today. Don't count out some of these guys that you haven't heard their names before here at SNR. There's a lot of talent that's been pouring in, and when you come to Talladega, it's almost multiplied, because who doesn't want to come to Talladega and dish it out for 80 laps?
Yeah, we're going to see it for 80 laps because we already had our first caution, but we really don't have any retirements from the race. As a matter of fact, we have no retirements for the race. The only reason we have a driver lap down is because Daryl Young just couldn't beat the pace car out, so he's hoping for a quick yellow that he's not involved in to get that lucky dog, but we'll have 32 drivers lead lap. Even Brandon Wallace is destroyed. Budweiser 99 Chevy Camaro is. We'll have 8 laps until that lap 29 point.
I just want to take a quick look at a few of these paint schemes. A quick look here at the 23 of Ray Massey. It's a little bit different paint job on his today. the 2 of Reggie Ortega. I believe this is like the 3rd or 4th race that he's had this paint scheme, but quite a few different looks out here. So if you're looking for a paint scheme that might be familiar, well, they've changed it up a little bit because of these next gens. So it'll be back to your originally scheduled programming for where these guys look and how they sit. But here's the green flag. Lap 22 back underway. Second time here at Talladega. Oh man, there the 24 just forced his way into the middle. He kept the 73 of McWhorter up on the outside. Kyle Peacock will be the only one on that 3rd line as of right now. Looks like we have another taker deeper back in the field, but he's not going to get connected in time. And now it's just a drag race down the backstretch to see who can get the bumpers connected the fastest. Here comes Bell. Caution's out.
3. Couldn't see. There was a big jumble on up back there. Joshua Banks is in the wall. We had Villalobos have a lot of damage in that as well. And that just looked like a bunch of jockeying at the back of the pack. I thought I saw 4 wide. And
Let's see how this unfolds.
Not a good race for Banks. Needs more repairs. Vspeed instant replay.
There's the 4 wide. Oh, it's the...
Oh! He went up and over. Oh, and Banks took a pretty hard hit to that right side, but Villalobos pulling out the skating moves kind of grinded the wall and did maybe like a half and half barrel roll here. This is 4 wide. Banks kind of gets turned from that view, and that's not what you want to see in your onboard camera. As Robert Denton has another bit of big damage.
Trying to find a good angle of this. It looks like the 93 maybe went into panic mode. Moved up to the outside, then saw the 45 with the big run there. The hole was still there. Let's watch it on board here with Julio and see what we got.
It definitely looked like he was indecisive. I think he realized he was 4 wide. They were 4 wide here with Mark Whitley to the front. And he's
on hold.
He's trying to get up here. Then he sees Villalobos coming. He thinks, oh, I got to give him room. He comes right into Banks. And Villalobos is completely along for the ride. He actually ramps that wall with the right side tires. Somehow gets back on the wheels to even drive at the pit lane. That could certainly end his day, possibly, as the right front's completely off the car. And it seems like a lot more drivers are going to come back to pit, even the drivers that aren't getting repair. Looks like a lot of drivers topping off on fuel because this could put people close in their fuel window.
So the 48 and the 24 who've worked together all race long going to fall out of the top 5. A few drivers stay out. Joseph McWhorter, Kyle Peacock, Mark McFadden, Mike George, Mark Whitley, all still out there on the racetrack. And so this kind of...
excuse me, just talking about Darryl Young getting a lucky dog as well. So their teammate will be back on the lead lap. He got that quick yellow he was hoping for.
And unfortunately for Julio, he had got back on the lead lap with that caution previous to this one, but immediately has problems and ends up kind of Tony Hawk pro skating on the outside wall there. I would give it a 10 out of 10 though. It was a good landing. He kept the car going. It's just unfortunate when that car came back down. It broke that. Looked like it broke maybe the control arm or maybe a toe link. I'm not entirely sure there. Probably the entire right side.
I think it's the whole suspension on the right front that broke. That thing dug into the wall, which is kind of what sent him over on his lid and did a full flip. I mean, the right front, it was dragging in the pit lane. I don't think it's on the car now, so I would not be surprised if he's done. Never want to be the one to take out the sponsor car. 29 graphics on the nose of that Camry, but it might not continue for the rest of this race. Still 32 drivers on the track. As long as everyone else continues, Banks and Wallace are still having extensive damage repair. This makes it a sprint for $29, if anything. We'll probably go green with about 4 laps to go this time until we get that 29 lap bonus.
So I had a little malfunction with my cameras there. I also want to say that if you guys do hear any voices in the background, my house is not haunted. That is a 7-year-old that is playing Poppy Playtime a little too loud. So it doesn't happen very often here on Vspeed, but here recently, somebody's found a new volume level at the age of 7. We're trying to do everything we can here. There's a lot of R&R here at Vspeed to try to research what causes that side effect of children yelling, but we'll get to the bottom of it soon enough. The Uno reverse card still tops everything. I gotta go back to that one. The last broadcast I did, I believe it was, help me out here, Connor, where I missed Auto Club. Or was it Wilkesboro?
You did not miss Auto Club. It was Auto Club, if anywhere. You were not here for Wilkesboro last week.
It was Wilkesboro that I missed. So it was Auto Club, post-race. I was trying to explain to him that I still had post-race interviews to do, and that he would have to wait a minute. And he pulled out an Uno reverse card on me. And at that point, I lost all composure. I had nothing. The only thing that you can do is skip at that point. And I had no cards in my pocket. So, what do you do?
Just kind of take it, I guess.
I just take it. I mean, it's a kind of a proud dad moment, but at the same time, it's like, man, you just outwitted me. I hate YouTube. All right. But, yeah, I mean, sitting here at 25, we're going to go back live at lap 26. These guys are going to have a 3-lap shootout. I mean, it's starting to get a little bit antsy in the back of this field. Guys going 4 wide right on this restart. We made it about 1.5 miles, I'd say, before we had our second caution of the night. And Kyle Peacock with his 24 positions gained to the outside of Joseph McWhorter, 18 gained. Remember, all these drivers in the top 5 stayed out this last round of pit stops. Then you have Turner, Baffert, Wright. A lot of hungry cars back here behind them. And they've proven that they can go 3 wide and get a good shot back to the front. So we'll have to wait and see what these guys are willing to do. Of course, the 24 and 48 are going to be separated here. Tightening up the field here. You can see the top 10. Who's going to blink first? Here we go. Third time today. Green flag is out. We're back live at Talladega. McWhorter got it going. He's going to block 2 lines. Now gets to his teammate. There's a good shot. Oh, they're going to go 3 wide down the middle. A block on Turner. Man, that was almost catastrophic. 4 wide.
They're 5 wide with Jeff Wright away bottom. Whitley, I think, has to back out. They're still going to be 3 wide. I don't know how they got away with it that time, but they did. Wright had to go below the yellow line to make it work even, because there's not that much room, even though it's a roomy track. Here goes Peacock for the lead.
Yeah, that one's bookmarked. That one's going to go down in some SNR history. 5 wide at Talladega. Lap 27 about to be underway, and your new leader, Kyle Peacock, on the point.
Darryl Young pitting. He might have gotten a restart penalty, so he might have to give that lap back up if there's not a quick yellow. Peacock, Bell, Turner. They go to the bottom. Nope, Turner goes to the middle with help from Baffert to get the lead back away, and then blocked by Kyle Peacock. Bailey Turner's just going to go way higher, and they're going to have a big run coming from McWhorter with help from the 23 of Ray Massey on the top side.
Look who's sneaking up the middle here. Concrete Cabot starting to get a little loud. He wants to get this $29. I'm sure that would be nice here. Maybe would help the 17 team make a little more races here in the SNR League. He's had a limited schedule this season, but definitely a threat to win everywhere we go.
Starting to see this tandem again. Look at these two getting away, even from McWhorter and Massey, but they're shuffling in the background, which is kind of causing this 4-car breakaway. I think Mike George had contact with the 17 there a little bit, but they kept it straight as Kyle Peacock's fallen all the way out to the back of the top 10 through all this.
Yeah, that's how fast it can happen. He was at one point just a lap ago leading this race. Now back in the 13th, 14th position, falling out of this top 10. He's going to get another surge here, but he's got a damaged car, the 04 of Mike George.
Look at these guys swerving. Here goes teammates Bell and Case Lacatas to the bottom, trying to get the $29 for those two. I'm wondering how hard these drivers are going to block for the lead if it comes to that. We'll see how much they want to fight for about $29, as it's Turner and Baffert working well together at the front. Ray Massey's just kind of following along.
Well, it looks like the 24 is going to get it this time. Well, he's going to have to lead this lap. Here we go. This is the one that he has to get it.
Mark McFadden, I think, just passed Kyle Peacock below the double yellow line back there, but they once again kept it straight. I don't know if he can penalize that or not because he didn't complete the pass, but we're still same as we were at the front, 1, 2, 3. Mark Whitley keeps going to the bottom and pick up his teammates McWhorter, but he just doesn't have it. They don't have a run on that bottom line now, and I think Bailey's just waiting for Ben Baffert to make this move.
Well, let's take a good shot of Vspeed on the rear deck lid. Here comes some moves. Alex Bell to the bottom. He has no help.
Look at Baffert. He's going to shove. He's going to try to get to the outside. Bailey Turner's shutting it down. Here we go. I don't think Baffert's going to try it. Who's going to get it? To the line. I think Baffert got him. He did. They virtually tied at the line on the iRacing ticker, but it gave it to Baffert.
Well, we have to go back and watch all of this, do we not? I mean,
$29 for Ben Baffert by less than 1,000th of a second.
We have to go back and watch that. Let's take a quick instant replay. Why not?
Oh, we better get through it quickly because there is stuff brewing. Lakatos is up to second after all this. It literally does not get closer than this. Baffert timed it, I guess, to perfection. He just barely got him at the line by some margin. Right.
Oh, man, how do you do that? How do you decide that?
I just go by what iRacing says, and iRacing gave it to the 23. And I looked on my replay. It's hard to tell from there as well. That was a virtual dead heat. NASCAR's been known for a lot of those this year, though.
I don't want to be the guys in that deciding room for this.
Look at that. Double 23s at the front.
There you go, teaming up. So you got the $29. Ray Massey says you're my new best friend. You can have my number, but let me win this race.
Either way, Baffert doesn't care what happens. He's got $29. Here comes the bottom line. Now they have a run. The top line really stopped there. Massey could not get the push from Baffert, and Bell went to the lead, and Cabot's all the way back to the lead after all that's happened already in this race.
They got a freight train starting to build up, starting to shovel some coal on the high line. And out to dry. Ben Baffert drops back. Alex Bell drops back. Oh, this isn't going to be good.
Well, that is just not legal. That was Mark Whitley below the yellow line.
How many infractions do we have to bookmark here below the yellow? I'm bookmarking all of them.
That's at least the second, and that was pretty obvious. I thought Whitley was going to go the middle. He had plenty of room in the middle, but he decided to go below that yellow line. I don't know if we have any off-track admins today, but if we did, I would certainly be busy. One that would look at. Yeah.
Yeah, all over the back bumper, though. I mean, look at the outside. It's just probably 20 cars deep now, and we didn't see any of that in the start of this race, but you got to go all the way back to the 5 at McFadden. 17th spot to find the tail end of this train.
One thing for sure, those Harpoon Designs racing guys, they're trying to get to the front. Whitley and McWhorter, they're the ones trying to work the bottom, but you can see they're also kind of staying off the bottom line, maybe trying to side draft some guys back, but they're the only ones trying to make this work. It's so crazy how quickly it got to single file after we got that lap 29 point.
McFadden actually has too much of a run. He's going to drop below, not going to have anywhere to go. Caleb Weekly almost some contact.
I don't know what happened there.
Turbulence. I mean, air off that wall, there's probably 101 factors for the front end of this car getting light. Side force, downforce, lack of downforce, gravity. That's a big one right there. You got to look out for that.
Yeah, gravity's a tough one. So if someone's on your bumper too, that could upset the car, especially entering the corner. You'll see that at any super speedway, not just Daytona as well. So we're starting to see things ramp back up again, but we are seeing a lot of drivers running the wall, not really trying to push too much. We did see all those drivers last time by after the previous yellow that we didn't even go a full lap without getting the latest yellow, but we still saw a lot of drivers top off for fuel, so that could be an issue here. Fuel could be an issue because all those drivers topped off, and now we're seeing a lot of drivers just staying in line single file. There could be fuel saving happening here as 99 goes down a lap. That thing is really bent.
It's the 99 of Brandon Wallace. He's going to drop down on the apron. Hopefully that toe can keep it down there.
He's good. They got by him now. They're about to lap Daryl Young, who had the, I believe, a restart penalty given out from iRacing. So he's going to have to go a lap down again. He's actually going 2 laps down here, so this is completely unraveled for him.
That's what happens when you lose the pack, though. Very difficult to get back to it. So we watch. I want to talk a little bit about this guy. He made his debut in the Wednesday Night Cup Series at Overtake iRacing League. It's Angelo Horonis. And he's over there with AJ Stravado, Eric Hutton, and a few others that have been slowly working their way. I feel like Vspeed might be a little bit of a part of these leagues kind of blending and meshing, slowly having members across the board. And I find myself saying similar names 6 or 7 times a week in some cases.
Why you get the names wrong that aren't here every other week.
Yeah.
It can happen sometimes.
There's, I believe, Philip Brewer down there on the bottom. He's the 3rd car on the line on the inside. So the inside's going to surge back to the front. Now the 23 takes the 48 all the way to the front. Here comes Philip Brewer with Kyle Peacock. And how about the rebound for the 83? He was kind of left for dead back in the 14th spot just a few laps ago. About 10 to go, or 10 laps ago, he was gone.
And not what you want to see if you're a Joshua Banks fan. He could not repair all his damage that last yellow. He's gone a lap down himself. He is way off the pace himself. But that middle line, that higher line, it's exactly what they want. They have all of these drivers, Baffert, Wright, Cabot, Bailey Turner, Horonis is there. All these drivers are working together. So now all these drivers are on that higher line. I can only anticipate they're going to try to side draft that bottom line back whenever they get a run, whenever they feel the need to, and they're going to try to control this race.
Oh!
Well, 3 wide. They don't need the side draft. Now we're getting crazy. Look at this run. Oh,
That's
man.
a big hit there from Klinger, but he gets the 44 shot back up in front of Kyle Peacock. He could come down and clear, but he said, well, that was such a good hit. I guess I'll just ride with you.
Talk about a slam draft. That's the definition right there. He had to be going at least 5 miles an hour faster. It could have been closer to 10. But that's the strength of these next-gen cars. In most cases, you can handle that pretty easily.
Oh, Jack Klinger knows the front end of that 09's a little bit pointy. He wanted to flatten it out. I think mission accomplished. He's going to have a really good bumper here, similar to the Toyotas, but man, all over each other. Brewer's going to get a good shot here out of 2. He might be to the lead in about 600 feet. Can they get it?
Not quite. Most likely going to lose some steam here, and we'll see if Baffert or Jeff Wright want to side draft a little bit to prevent this. They're just going to push harder. But here comes some of those Harpoon Designs racing teammates. McWhorter and Whitley have gotten behind the 09 and 44.
Oh!
Got to watch out. Another slam draft, pushing the pusher. It's the combo that you don't really want. They got away with it there. Definitely got away with it for the time being.
They're lucky that's a very talented driver that they just ran into the back of. They're still working on him here. The 09 to Klinger gets out of shade, moves up to the middle line briefly. The problem is that all that inertia, it doesn't just get absorbed into the back of that 09. The 44 is feeling that too. Either one of those guys could get turned around from that.
I think the issue is Whitley's trying to get around these two, but there's just nowhere to go. That line on the higher side is pinching just enough where there's no middle lane to go, and there's no room to be inside below the yellow line. So they are shoving the heck out of those two right now as they inch up the track a little further. Baffert is up the track. Gives Brewer the lead for the time being, though.
Well, let's go back in the Hornet's Nest. This is on board with Mike George in the 04. He's just trying to figure out, who do I want to go with? Who's going to the front? Because it's kind of like ocean waves at this point. It comes and goes.
Baffert got to the right rear of Whitley. Now Whitley's going to start the fade back to where he came from. Klinger saw that happening, so he got up in front of a 23. Now at this point, I can only imagine Baffert's going to try to force the issue to get Klinger out of the way, and maybe they work together, but I can only imagine Baffert probably doesn't want to stick and not be the leader of this line, but that controversy is helping that bottom line stay in the fight with Brewer. Now McWhorter pushing, but here comes Bell to the middle.
He has no helpers, and so sucker hole for the 15. He's going to have to fall all the way back to the 10th spot. You can see how fast he's falling. Guys do not want to work with that. Hey, Lakatos, give me a shot.
His teammate will help him out whenever he needs. He was at the back of the line anyways, but this is pretty crazy racing, to say the least, as now it's Chad Klinger in control of that top line that we were talking about. And still yet to see really a successful third lane longer than like a lap or two. It seems like it can stay there for maybe 2 laps at most, and then once you lose engine temperature, you got too much engine temperature, and they stop pushing, you lose about 10 miles an hour from just being in the middle alone. So it's something to note for later in the race as well. I'm sure every driver's taking notes of what that does. But saying that, 15's creeping up a little further, but still far back as Klinger goes to side draft that bottom line, but Brewer is already clear. McWhorter's already clear. See if Baffert wants to try to get to the outside. He made contact with Nick Alford trying to side draft too hard as they had to get by the 45 again.
Yeah, this is going to be chaos here to get through the tri-oval. But speaking of taking notes, let's take note that it's past halfway here, and you know what that means here on SNR and Vspeed. Well, it's time for 29 graphics to get loud. Here, find that remote control or that volume knob on that smart device. Turn it up and get loud. 29 graphics. Well, I mean, this doesn't get any better than what we're seeing right now. 3 wide for the lead there momentarily. Adam Cabot on the outside as we bring the ticker back up on your screen. These guys battling back and forth for most laps led. It's been a tough one so far here. Tell you what, 29 graphics, thank you for bringing the volume here on Vspeed. Appreciate you guys. And, of course, I'm still up for debate. Was it the 24 or the 23 that led at lap 29? We've got it on instant replay. We can go back and show that to you later on, but I don't know, man. That's a blink of an eye. That's a sneeze. I mean, that's just thousandths of a second that we can't even calculate. It's so fast, and that's what we live for. Hopefully we get to see that, Connor, at the finish line for the last lap.
Yeah, iRacing decided it was Baffert, but it could have been a toss-up either way. But either way, they'll give it to Baffert, maybe look at it next race. But right now, that's not what the focal point is. The focal point is we're still probably about maybe 10 to 15 laps away from a pit stop under green, and it could be the final pit stop. Once again, fuel's looking pretty close at this point. It could be anyone's game with fuel possibly being an issue. I think that's part of the reason we saw Baffert get out of the lead line, the leader of that line. I think he wants to save some fuel. So now Cabot and Turner, they're all leading that line, and they switch to the bottom instead of leading that top line. And Philip Brewer is instead leading the higher line as Cabot and Turner work together to get clear, almost clear for the lead, those two. And Baffert's going to try to join them. You can see how much of a run you can generate just by bump drafting and staying locked bumper to bumper.
So a lot of these accordions that we've seen where the field gets checked up deep in the pack usually starts up here where a guy will get locked onto a bumper, maybe get a bad touch and send the guy down to the apron. At that point, the guy behind him checks up. The guy behind him might see it check up in time, but then you go 4 or 5 cars deep. Well, let's just take a look at what you see here as we'll ride on board with the 23 of Ben Baffert. That's maybe a little exaggerated, but you really can't see it. I mean, the spoiler, you can't see through these cars at all. Like right here, check up, you just got to feel it.
4 wide. Oh, no, we're 3 wide. Mike George really forced the issue there. He's the only one of 2 cars trying to make the middle work, side drafting Horonis, who's been a little quiet today. Mark Whitley still trying to get back through to the front as well, and he has some of that right side damage as Bell and Chad Klinger almost made contact. You're absolutely right. If you don't have someone helping you out, letting you know what's ahead, you really don't know what's going on, especially if you're 3rd car in the line and you start to check up. If you don't have someone telling you, hey, they're checking up, you need to lift, you're going to run right into the back of someone and probably cause a crash.
Well, let's do it here. Let's officially name this here on Vspeed the Gmail Weekly Cam. As we're riding on board with Caleb Weekly in 23rd right now. He's been having a quiet day. I think he's just biding his time, trying not to get involved in anything. Of course, these next-gen cars, once you break the suspension, it's difficult to get back into this race. So he's putting himself in a place right now where he's not riding anybody's bumper. If something happens, he can back up, let the wreck kind of clear itself off the racetrack. Hopefully, navigate it through there cleanly. But I don't know about you, Connor. Every time I come to this racetrack, if I feel like I need to avoid crashes, I'm almost guaranteed to be in one.
Drivers are all over each other. That's all I can see right now. It's just really, really tough and really crazy to watch the games that are being played right now with fuel. Like it just seems like the pace has slowed down a little bit. We're 191 out of turn number 4, and we went green with about 55 laps to go, and everyone topped off with about 55 to go.
Ooh, what about that?
Oh, man.
Mike George just chopped the nose of the 29, Angelo Horonis. He fit that car. One more time here on the instant replay. Hey, there's a hole there. I'm going to take it.
And he sees this line leaving and tries to make it work. He even got a bump from Whitley as well. That could have played part in that too. But still interested to see what the fuel game is going to be. Like I said, everyone pit with about 55 to go. So you would probably think everyone's going to be in at around that lap 57, somewhere around 57 if they can try to make it and split it in half. As here comes Bell and Klinger with a big run to the outside. They're hitting 202 out of turn number 4.
Well, that's enough speed to get to the lead. Lap 51, Alex Bell, your leader. Is that going to be his 4th one today? Drops down in front of Adam Cabot. Now Chad Klinger has Ray Massey just behind him on the outside. 4 cars trying to get by. I mean, oh man, a little turbulence there from the touch on the Ray Massey moves Chad Klinger almost down into the side of Bailey Turner. Cabot probably intent at this point, doesn't really care too much that Bell came down there in front of him. And I think for the 24, he was probably getting hot or close to it. And now he can let that car breathe a little bit.
We're starting to see some more jockeying for position. Drivers trying to get to the front before that stop. Jeff Wright jumped to the outside. Case Lacadas jumped up in front of him, but they've kind of stalled out and allowed about 3 to 4 cars on the bottom to clear everyone. Bell, Cabot, Turner pulling away from that 3x3 as now Lacadas gets the push from Jeff Wright. He gets cleared, but he decides not to come down, and those top 3 will stay a little farther out compared to the pack, which is now about a 23-car pack. Jerry Bergeron and Keith Shoemaker bookending the 2nd lane that kind of lost this pack 10 laps ago.
So I just saw a glimpse there of the 09. He got up in front of the 50 of Lacadas and came back down in front of Massey. So I'm not sure if he's trying to play a line there to help, move everyone up there. I don't know if he feels detached with Jeff Wright back there with Lacadas or what exactly the moves are here, but they're falling back. For every time that happens, that somebody changes lines, it's kind of killing that momentum. And the 23, they had a good thing going. They worked their way up to about 6th position, and now they've fallen back to 10th.
And that's kind of what causes that accordion effect, because things get spread out like they are right now, where this pack is separated by about 2 seconds from first to 23rd as we look 3 wide to the apron again. That's at least the third tight call. Philip Brewer on the bottom, but this is what causes that accordion effect that caused the first crash of the night, where you get everyone pretty spread apart, but everything comes right back to the middle of everything. These two packs will converge once again. It'll cause those stack ups that we saw earlier, and it could really throw a wrench in these things, especially if we got a caution now.
It's that opposite and equal reaction. I didn't learn much from physics, but if there's one thing I took away from it, what goes up must come down. Cabot, he's got a good push here, but for how long? Does that outside decide to reorganize before pit stops? You saw it with Bell. You saw it with the O-line of Klinger. Quite a few of these guys have tried their luck on that high line. It doesn't seem like there's any particular spot on this racetrack where you're safe.
Even single file, you would never be safe. We've seen plenty of single file crashes in real life and in iRacing, so you can never be fully safe, especially at a track this big. As Bell continues to lead, once again, everyone pretty much pit lap 24, lap 25, but it looks like we're ready for stops. Everyone's single file on the bottom, and here we go. Looks like the Harpoon Racing drivers plus Mike George will pit. George is way too fast, and he spins.
0-4 around.
There's no way he made pit speed either. It was just McWhorter and Whitley as well, because they lost Daryl Young laps down.
Yeah, that's coming in a little too hot there for the 0-4. He locks it down, goes sideways. Fortunately, slides out of the way for the 2 cars behind him there. That is going to be probably a speeding penalty for Mike George, as you see him still sitting here on the pit road. Back to the lead, though.
Almost certainly take him out of this race, and it almost looked like he had too much rear brake in, as here we got more pit stops. Turner, Baffert, Ortega, everyone almost is coming down. Lock up, there's contact. 2 got into a 17 there.
17 had to lock it back up. We're
Gosh.
4 wide down pit road here.
Oh, got to make your stall. 09 almost right reared Cabot. And Cabot's going to have to back out to get in. 23 had to get in. Somehow no one got turned yet through all that, but that was pretty much the rest of that front back. Chuck Sweeting, Bryce Shoemaker, Caleb Weekly, about the only drivers in that lead pack that didn't pit there.
Here we go. Cabot's going to lead him out.
And this
15
is
of Bell.
And this entire pack, everyone's going to have to make it about 35 laps on this tank of fuel to make it to the end. So this definitely plays in the hands of Sweeting, Shoemaker, and Weekly to go an extra lap. But they got to make sure that they can get out with this lead pack as those 3 come down now.
Cabot way out here in front of all of this. That's he's going to get freight trained here because Alex Bell and Ben Baffert are connected already.
Yeah, so he's really got to get going here. And he's going to get freight trained, no doubt. He's just got to hope he can get in with that line of 4, because all of these drivers have really gotten spread out from one another. You got Bell, Baffert, Klinger, Turner. Then you have Ortega. Mike George is on his right rear. Horonis, Stravato, and Jeff Wright are backed up. So that pack's going to be 2 by 2, slowing each other down a little bit, while this line of 4, maybe 5, can get away a little bit, as those 3 that went that extra lap are not going to be able to stay with this pack right here.
Go back here to Bryce Shoemaker, that's just now coming out of pit road. A lot of Neon Auto guys coming out of, trying to get back up to speed.
They're going to be able to stay. They're going to be able to stay with this pack. Those guys at the way front, they did a great job maximizing their entry and exit. But the issue is they're not really formed up. They might not keep this.
Unfortunately for Cabot, man, he got freight trained so bad he wasn't able to catch the tail end of that pack. But I would like to say Adam Cabot should thank Reggie Ortega because he gave him that extra shot there to get him on and off pit road.
Chuck Sweeting back to pit road. Don't know why, but he had to come back down.
Possibly an unsafe pit exit?
That or speeding exit is the only 2 things you could think of, and he was right next to the yellow line. I don't know. Looking at the replay, it was tight, but either way, it's a penalty nonetheless. And season from hell continues, although he'll be able to stay. He'll be able to stay on the lead lap for the time being, as they're mixing things up, passing Cabot. They went 3 wide doing this. This is exactly what these top 4 want to see, because they can work together and pull away. I did this in a next-gen race in a different league. If you have a line this small, you have the leader rotate out or the pusher rotate out, then they go to the rear of the line. You can make decent time doing that. That's what Bell, Baffert, Klinger, Turner, that's what they should be trying to do right now to try to keep this gap while they're racing like this.
Stravato is actually being pushed away from the rest of this group, the 34 back there. Remember that 34? He was involved in that first yellow. He's since nursed this thing back to 7th position. Kudos to the 34 Ghost Machine. Thought it was pretty much done for. Remember, that was where the 45 of Julio went over the wall right next to him. Are they catching him though, Connor? I mean, we're looking here at about 3 seconds between Stravato and Turner. This time by, it looks like they did shave off a couple tenths. They're slowly creeping up towards these guys. Kind of hard to overrun a single line of cars.
The thing with those top 4, everyone's tight on fuel. Everyone's got to stretch at the 35 laps on fuel on this shortened tank. I don't know if being in a line of 4 on your own is the best thing for them to do, because they're on the same strategy as everyone behind them. It's not like they have an advantage on fuel. They might have to drop back to the main pack just so they can keep the pace slower and save the fuel they need to save. They are slower right now. Alex Bell is only topping out at like 192, 193. So I think that might be what's happening here.
Of course, Bell takes over the point after they go around the outside of Adam Cabot, who led him off pit road, but nobody wants to work with the 17. He's since settled out in 11th position.
The second pack gained about 0.6 of a second that lap alone. They'll definitely get there.
It looked like a little switcheroo with the 48 of Jeff Wright. He gets out from behind Stravato and now has the push from Ray Massey. So another head of steam. It's down to 2.5 seconds, just under it.
This isn't really, like I said, not the worst thing in the world if these top 4 have to slow the pace down and save fuel, because right now we don't know how close the fuel is, but we do know everyone only went about 30 laps on a tank, so that would pretty much set everyone up to be good on fuel possibly, but it's going to be tight.
Yeah, that's going to be close. And if you're leading this group like Jeff Wright is or Alex Bell, you're probably not going to make it. Shortens the life of this fuel run by about 2-3 laps.
And that could have been what got
a green white checkered.
That could have been what got them out ahead. If they tried to even shave fuel out of the stop, that could have saved them some time as well. But it's not going to make a difference if that was the case, because that pack's already caught them.
So right now, 62 laps in, less than 20 laps to go. The second group has caught this front 4. Big block there from Turner, right to the inside, 3 wide. Block from Bell. We're looking 4 wide. Across the line, it's Baffert, but here we go. And the 15 left out to dry.
Crash in the back. Mike George hit the wall hard, and he's crashed with Nick Alford. And there's no caution yet. Back up the track. Will it cause one? No. We stay green. They both hit extremely hard. Mike George was at least 1 lap down. Alford was lead lap. That didn't look pretty.
Trying to find this machine of Alford.
The 20 on the ticker, 98 was this number on his side. They'll almost certainly be out of any contention, even with multiple yellows. This is the tail end of it. 20 dropping back. 04 kind of came up. 20/98 kind of. I was like, oh, we got a big crash live. Huge crash. Alex Bell was in it. Fetter Place is in it with big damage. This one has brought out the caution. as another chase driver with big damage. Didn't even note Joshua Banks had retired from the race, so that might really drop his chase title efforts. This might kill Alex Bells.
Where does this begin?
Oh,
Alex
stack
Bell,
up.
big shot.
Bell got turned. He had a big hit from the 50. I think that was his teammate, the 50, that turned him. I think Bell checked up, and Lakatis checked up with him. And Reggie, I think it's Reggie Ortega that drives through the 50. You'll see right here, he stops, bam, right there into the 50. And it carried all the way up and turns to 15. And where Brendan Fetter placed, literally wrong place, wrong time.
On board with Caleb Weekly.
See it stacking up even way far ahead. And everyone's trying to react to it. There's just no time for it sometimes. You can only deal with it so much when it's that big of a checkup. But that's something you could see with the race leader. Even the guys third, fourth in line on the top were checking up hard. But it was definitely Ortega into the back of 50 who went into the back of the 15 that caused that. This should make fuel, if it wasn't a question already, definitely not a question now. But who wants to top off in case we get green-white checkers?
I think we're topping off.
I think so as well. Like everyone's pitting. McFadden.
I don't think it's worth the gamble. You know, it's
No, definitely not.
cautions breeding cautions. 15 laps to go. I think we're gonna have another yellow close to the end here. It's
Well, this is gonna breed cautions, I would say.
yeah. I just don't think it's worth the risk.
It's like it did at Daytona. Car on the inside wall. I think that was Lakatis. His right front, his suspension's broken. I think he hit the inside wall trying to brake. But either way, everyone's out. Pit lane seems like a lot of fuel only. Baffert, Wright, Turner, Stravato, Cabot, the top 5, and all 5 of those drivers working together as well. So that should be pretty good for those guys. But we did have some drivers stay out.
And Bryce Shoemaker going to take over the lead here. Starting in 15th. This will be kind of a gutsy call, but you got a few guys that, like Caleb Weekly, up to the top 3 that stayed out as well. Philip Brewer, he's been in and out of the top 5 a couple times today. Kyle Peacock, also the same story. This is the first that we've really seen Bryce Shoemaker and Caleb Weekly up here in the top. So let's see if they can work together and try to maintain this top point. But we're going to have about 14 to go, I'd say, give or take. When we go back green, we're going to take a quick commercial break live here on Vspeed. You're watching the Saturday Night Racing League. Race 17 from Talladega. More coverage is going to continue of your chase right after this.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs.
From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items.
Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Introducing Tractor USA. the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
Back live from Talladega Super Speedway, Saturday Night Racing League. Well, they're putting on a heck of a show. If you're just tuning in, Ben Baffert gets the $29 here today. The 29 Graphics Challenge here with paint schemes up for grabs. And of course, this race presented by 29 Graphics, Tractor USA walking and rolling costumes. I know I'm forgetting one. Help me out here. Clark Print Shop. There we go. Remembered it. That's my job. Didn't say I was good at it. But here we sit, double back up. For the fourth time today, we've had a lot of cautions starting here. Some have went a little more notice than others, but that last one caught about 5 drivers that have had a turbulent day. Let's see what Bryce Shoemaker, Caleb Weekly, Philip Brewer, and Kyle Peacock have in store. They got to hold back a bunch of cars that topped off. Green flag out. Back underway from Talladega.
That higher line stacked up. Would not be surprised to see Baffert jump 3 wide. There he goes.
Already into turn 1. We're starting 3 wide on the outside of Peacock, Brewer. And Brewer's going to move up. Now Baffert's going to move down. 24 could not follow him. Baffert made the move quickly, and now he has Kyle Peacock on the back bumper into the middle. Leading. Leading out of 2. He's got 43 on the inside. Sorry.
Yeah, 43 did not get a good run. They're stacking up. They're 4 wide. Bergeron's in the low middle, I guess. Travato let him in. They somehow saved it, but Baffert definitely wanted to get Turner to go with him, but couldn't make it work. But he's gotten Turner in front of him now, and now Philip Brewer's on the outside with Cabot pushing him.
Organized chaos here on lap 69 as they come across the line. Ben Baffert gives a shot from front to back. He had Kyle Peacock give him a hit there, almost upset the 24. And now Brewer, I think he just found his friend, the 17 of Cabot, who's had a block there. Big checkup on the outside, and now it's 3 wide for the lead.
Here comes the inside. Peacock got a big push from Jeff Wright. They were able to get back in front. I think Turner and Baffert tried to block the high line, but they didn't both commit. They kind of half committed, and Turner and Cabot almost had contact. Now they have to regroup because that bottom line had about 5 cars get clear.
Wow, look at that. The 73 of McWhorter gets glued to the back bumper of the 77. More blocking going on up front.
Look at the run Baffert has up the middle. To the bottom he goes. Look at the run. Car in the wall.
Oh, that's a block.
They kept it straight, though. Peacock is fighting for his life here.
In the Hornet's nest. 83 of Peacock. I don't know how he's held on to it this long. I mean, Turner went up there and blocked, but Cabot's back on the surge. They're going to dump him.
Yeah, I can't really do anything about that. He's just at the mercy of those 3. Now Baffert's going to lead Cabot and Turner, and they have a pretty big gap over Jerry Bergeron, who's leading the pack in the top line. Caleb Weekly's going to get the 4th. We haven't talked about them all race, but up to 4th for the 13. The Bergeron, same thing. Haven't talked about the 1 at all. All of a sudden at the front.
Up in the top 5, but it's getting hairy back here. 10 laps to go.
Never make it more than 6.
Not with that. 77 almost gets turned by his teammate. Bergeron blocks to the bottom. He's going to go to the lead. Coming out of turn 2. Side by side with Baffert. Another block to the outside. Big wreck behind him.
Gavin Pittman, he spins. Travato is in it. That's not going to be a caution. Caution now's out. And I think Jerry Bergeron had the lead. Pittman came back up the track, caused the yellow, but Jerry Bergeron had the lead at the time of yellow.
So we will go back and take a look at that, but it sends this car down to the inside. This is 4 wide right here. 33 Travato just sneaks past that.
No, he did hit the inside wall pretty good. and then just he didn't. I don't think he did anything egregious. He was just coming back up to get back going, and it just triggered the yellow with the pack of cars coming. Jerry Bergeron will appreciate it because it timed out just right for him to get the race lead out of that. This is how it happened. Philip Brewer's getting split. He gets put in the middle of 4, and then we get 4 wide here. Daryl Young comes down on Pittman, kind of triggers that, and that's Daryl Young laps down. He's 4 laps down now, so just mixing it up a little bit too rough with some of these lap cars.
There's the 44 falling through, and here's the checkup.
And right there, Stravato gets a decent bit of contact, so he didn't fully avoid the 22. Might have to repair that right front fender if he wants to compete, but it's kind of been a quiet day for Stravato, usually a little bit more animated in these race, in any race he does.
Well, these scenarios, yeah, I mean, he's testing the brakes here. They work.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But yeah, he hasn't really been much of a factor today, no doubt. And I think, would certainly have to repair some damage here. There's almost certainly no one else is going to pit unless he are out of tires, or you literally have tires falling off the car. Alex Bell's leading the modified division, so he'll pit as well as Stravato.
And that's unfortunate. Bell, of course, was up front for a lot of the day here today, and the Dale Yoda. But you can't tell it's a Toyota other than the badge on the hood. Running completely gone from that machine.
See if they can find it here.
Yeah, hopefully there's a spare down there in the pits, but they might have to borrow it from one of these other teams. We might have a hybrid, maybe a Ford on the front of that thing.
I know Alec has a bunch of Dale Yodas. I'm sure he has some.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So repping the lead now, Jerry Bergeron. We haven't talked a lot about him this season. He's been quietly, in the top 10 in points for a lot of this here in this chase. And, I mean, kudos to him because I think he's had to salvage a couple finishes. He's had some races that didn't go his way early. He was able to come back and get, top 20s in some of those races. And, that really alleviates the pain when you have a good day. It really bumps you up. So, good on him, but I don't know. Does he have any friends behind him here?
I know he has friends that might not be friends with him, but he has plenty of drivers that probably aren't going to work with him, but they have teammates to work with. Baffert, Cabot, Turner, they've been working together, and you got the teammates in the 73 of McWhorter, the Harpoon Design teammates of McWhorter and Whitley up there as well. So you got 2 sets of teammates there that are working with each other, but then you have some drivers you're kind of unsure of. Caleb Weekly, don't know who he's got to work with. He's in 7th. Bryce Shoemaker in 8th, 5th in the points. Don't know who he has got to work with. Peacock as well.
Those two right there. Actually, those 3, I would sense would work together.
I would think so. I think there's clearly, they know who's working with who, and they're not a part of their plans. I think you need to kind of join forces at some point to try to counter that. It's a pretty big deal for Shoemaker, 5th in the points. He can really get himself into a fight for maybe 3rd position with Joshua Banks' troubles. But as far as McWhorter's concerned, he needs to really finish top 2 or top 3 and hope he finishes ahead of Jeff Wright, because Jeff Wright has not really made any mistakes in this chase so far. He's made no mistakes today. But he still finds himself 10th. McWhorter finds himself 6th with a teammate to work with here. So he needs something big to happen this last restart to try to gain a decent chunk of points on the 48 as we're about to cross the halfway point of this chase battle.
Of course, we only have 3 races after this event. So we got 3 races and about 6 laps left when they go back greens. It's been going overtime. Never say never. With the way they've been getting runs here, there's a good chance that we are going to add some additional mileage to this event here in Lincoln, Alabama. But, you got Las Vegas, Nashville Super Speedway, and then Phoenix to round out the season here. Those all, of course, on Saturday at 10 p.m. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, now's the time to do so. We showed you the points. We've talked about it, how tight things are up here in the top 5. Of course, you've got a variety of everything. You'd put Nashville somewhere in that realm of a hybrid track, kind of similar to Kentucky. Then you have Phoenix, which is a place all its own. It's like a Pocono. You just, you're either good at it or you're not. And of course, Las Vegas, where you'll see a number of drivers come and go throughout that race. Kind of like here tonight, where we've seen, well, do we really want to put the race recap up there and show 32 lead changes, 4 cautions? And I don't think we're done with that yet.
We got room for at least one more, I would think, with the way these drivers are going to be darting around each other on this restart. You're going to see Baffert and Cabot really hook up here. Mark Whitley's really going to have no choice but to push Jerry Bergeron. Same thing with Bailey Turner. But you know these drivers, Turner and Whitley are going to try to swap lanes, or maybe McWhorter will try to swap into Whitley's lane. So that could cause a stack up as well.
Plenty of situations left to be planned and played out. 6 laps to go when they cross the stripe. Green flag is out. We're back live at Talladega. Who can hold on to the lead?
Bergeron got out. It's not too far, but it's much further than you want. These 3 on the top are going to have a big run.
He's going to settle back in here to the bottom. He's going to have to force somebody to push him. That'll be the 77 of Mark Whitley. Oh, a little bobble there. He wasn't ready for it.
And he's got to be sturdy if he wants to be pushed back to the front, or else Whitley will kind of dump him and out of the lane. Shoemaker tried to get to the right rear of McWhorter, couldn't do it, and now you have about 6 cars from the top lane clear.
So now when do you strike? It's a little early here, and my plan would be wait until probably 1 to go, find a partner, and see who will take you up there. Just be sure to block them when they come out of turn 4 here. They're already starting it. Here we go.
Shoemaker with the 48, pushing him. And restart did not go. Oh, Bergeron got turned in the background, and there's going to be no caution for it.
He might save it.
Shoemaker's got the lead if the yellow does come out, but he's going to stop on the track. I think he's trying to cause a yellow, but there's no one back behind. We're going to stay green. Jeff Wright to the outside. Shoemaker couldn't block it. 17's in the middle now in the sucker hole. The 09 trying to push him. And all of a sudden, Jeff Wright's back to the front ahead of McWhorter and everyone else just about. And Jared Bergeron finally got going. Oh! Baffert, he saved it. Got to get back up.
Well, I just hit the 23 camera. That wasn't the right car, but wow, what a save there from Ben Baffert all the way to the apron of the racetrack, and more smoke here on the outside. 4 wide into 1. Weekly in the middle.
Oh, he's bottom middle. They're looking 5 wide, and that's not going to work either, but now they all have to check up and slow down. Now it's Travado who tried 5. Here comes Klinger to the inside, pushed by the 24. Shoemaker still holding on to the lead for the time being.
They're holding on to it with 4 laps to go. Neon Auto trying to get their first victory of the season in points. The 43 of Shoemaker getting some shots from the points leader, Jeff Wright, coming across the tri-oval. 3 laps to go.
McWhorter would love to pull out and pass Jeff Wright, but the problem is Jeff Wright has someone who would not go. He'd go with the 17 would go with the 48. 48 might jump low here. McWhorter thought about it, couldn't do it. I thought the 17 was going to stay in the top lane, but he's going to go to the lead himself.
Down to the bottom, Chad Klinger pushing the 17 on the bottom of the racetrack. Jeff Wright combats it. 73 of McWhorter has the 77 behind him now.
Oh, Jeff Wright got put in the middle. McWhorter went to his outside. That's huge for the 73, but it's huge for the 17. Everyone on the bottom is going to get clear. Here goes Turner and Cabot and Baffert. They're all going to link up on the top line and jump the 09.
43 put on a block. He gets a big check there.
That did not work for McWhorter either. It put him further back, but those 3 got way clear of 2 to go. Oh, Pittman and Shoemaker get contact. Oh, that's... Look out.
Oh.
Crash.
That's going to bring it out.
Starling involved. He took a huge hit, as did Reggie Ortega. And just like Daytona, we'll have a green-white checker.
So let's just tack on an additional 3 laps. I mean, wow. That's yeah, I mean,
and you got Cabot, Turner, and Baffert in the top 3, which is perfect timing for them.
these guys said 212 miles wasn't enough. Let's add an extra 8 here today. Let's see if we can go back on the Vspeed instant replay. I'm still trying to sort out exactly. I know it was the 43 of Bryce Shoemaker, so let's see if we can find it here.
They got really stacked up at the line. There's the huge hits for Ortega and Nick Starling, who we didn't even really talk about today. It was not a great race for him, and it ends abruptly. But it all starts here with those 3 hanging Chad Klinger out. And then you get a stack up here because Klinger threw a big block. And that kind of forces Shoemaker into the middle. McWhorter ends up not going with him. And then Pittman's blocking Brewer to the apron. And 22 kind of just comes up the track. And then the 43 cannot hold the brakes and nowhere for those 2 to go.
Reggie Ortega also involved in this. Let's go on board with him.
That is his race done, as is Nick Starling's, I'm sure.
I mean, based off their distance back here, I think they were probably just going to ride, 12th, 13th position.
I don't know if they were doing that. I think they just got so jumped up that these drivers lost the pack.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a situation that they probably weren't going to overcome there before the white flag. But now Reggie Ortega in a situation that he's probably going to be done for the day.
Almost certainly, for sure, as we have other drivers pitting, just repairing more damage. Shoemaker, Lakatos, Filiobos is still out here, as is Nick Alford. It's a break for Jerry Bergeron, who stays lead lap, I believe, through all that. So he'll have at least a lifeline here. That restart lap couldn't have gone worse for him. He went from first, as he rolls into a stall, he goes from first all the way to being spun into turn number 1. But it went incredibly well for Cabot, Turner, Baffert, who I'm sure will try to time this out to keep control of this race on a late race restart.
So officially into overtime, green-white checkered territory. And just like Daytona, like you said, we can't settle it with just the scheduled distance to drive. So we'll tack on an additional 3 laps. The leader will take the green flag with 3 laps as they cross the stripe. There'll be 2 to go. They'll come back around. If they make it to the white flag, the race will be official. However, if there is an accident before the leader reaches the stripe, we'll reset and try again. We will have, I believe, 3 attempts is what I had up here on the board for tonight's race analysis. I do so many of these shows a week, I'm starting to forget, but I believe it was 3.
I thought it was 4.
Let me go back on that. Let me just make sure it is 3 green-white checkered attempts, 4.
We have 3 green-white checkers. I thought we were talking about cautions. Yeah, we have 3 green-white checkered attempts. This will be the first attempt. And we only had the 1 attempt in Daytona.
Yes. I mean, the most important thing here for a lot of these guys is let's get to that white flag.
Let's get the green flag finish. Let's not end this under. Let's not blow through all 3. And another league I run in on Monday nights, we finally changed the rule for green white checkers. So instead, we finally have 3. We had 1 in the past, which I just hate. But at least we have 3. I just hope we don't end up finishing under yellow after using up 3 green white checkers, because then all the admins are going to end up being like, let's change that back. You guys suck. So, hoping that doesn't happen this coming season as we get the 1 to go. We'll try to hopefully end this race in 84 laps instead of the scheduled 80. Cabot, Turner, Baffert, Klinger, and Max Cost in 5th. That's someone we haven't talked about all race. Max Cost into the 5th position, and he's had a pretty solid season. Obviously a chase driver, 6th in points coming into tonight.
Well, this could really be a capitalization on the situation in points, and you know how tight that top 5 is. It could be a tight top 6. He's working his way into that situation now. Valvoline 63 going to try to get it done. He has friends amongst friends on this racetrack right now, but no direct teammates around for Bryce Shoemaker. Probably done for the day. Caleb Weekly is back in the, I want to say the 15th or 16th position here. So that's a stretch. Max is going to have to make some selfish choices and try to work his way up there somehow, all on his own.
Yes, as are a lot of other drivers that are starting even further back. We still have about 22 lead lap cars, all the way back to Nick Alford in 23rd. 75 after his green flag penalty, he's lead lap. He's back in 17th. Kyle Peacock's gone back in 4th. He's 16th. Travado, we haven't heard from him, but he's still 13th. No one is out of this. As long as you're lead lap, you are not out of this battle for the race win. It will get incredibly crazy. Even Gavin Pittman, he was involved in that crash, he's still going to restart about 12th. So this should be interesting. But what I'm really looking for is those top 3 to get to the top line and control this race, not allow McWhorter, Whitley, or anyone else to get to the front.
So into overtime, trying to settle the score here. The 17 and the 24, they've battled all day long. Teammates, friends, it's going to take everything you got here and a really loud pedal. Here we go. Cabot on the jump. 23 of Baffert not connected. Klinger is connected as we go into turn 1.
You see Cabot get up to the outside. They might have no choice but to hang out the 23, but he'll get a push from that 63 of Cost as everyone's trying to get to the outside. You got about 6 cars stacked up. McWhorter's going to get put in the middle, though, by Ray Massey. It's not what he needed.
Caleb Weekly trying to work his way up some positions. Now up to the top 10. Baffert moves to the outside. Going to get another shot from Ray Massey. The top 3 have pulled away.
Baffert's going to have a big run if he gets the right push from Ray Massey, though. He can have a big run on Chad Klinger, and if Klinger leaves space on the outside, he'll take that. They're 4 wide back there. They got it straightened, though. Here he goes. Baffert tried. He hooked the 0-9. And we're going to stay green. This is going to let the top 2 get away.
This is not good, though, for Cabot and Bailey Turner. They're going to be really far ahead. If these guys can get it sorted, Ray Massey's going to have a big run here.
No, they got side by side. Hronis didn't go with Ray Massey. Here comes Travado. He's going to go with the 29 as well. I think those 2 might be in a good spot now, and it might be between those 2 because these guys keep side-drafting each other. They're still pulling away down the back. It might be between Cabot and Turner.
Oh, I think a big head of steam's coming here, though, out of 4.
Baffert's in it. McWhorter's in it. Jeff Wright's in there as well, but they're coming to the line.
And Bailey Turner abandons the 17 through the tri-oval.
Hronis, he's going to have a big run. They made more contact. Here goes Hronis. Who's going to get it? Adam Cabot's going to win it.
Are you sure?
Oh, my goodness.
Man. How about that top 3 across the line? Door banging all the way through the tri-oval to the grass.
Oh, boy. And they're wrecking after the line, the 34 and the 45. But huge chase implications there, too, because McWhorter finishes 10th, Wright finishes 20th. That gap between the top 2, they're wrecked in the back. That's going to close up, but watch this finish. I think Bailey Turner goes for it too early. He tries going outside there. He gets blocked. He goes to the inside here. He has the run. Now Cabot goes the side draft, and he does it. He actually hits the 24. And then Hronis has this huge run, and Cabot pulls off the block perfectly. And 24 gets wrecked and takes the 33 to the apron. He worked all that way to get put into the inside wall after the line.
Yeah, one more time. We got to watch it one more time. This is coming out of turn 4. Let's see if we can get another camera angle of what happens here. This block right...
That doesn't work in any other car.
Right here, this block on Hronis just sends Cabot past everything. And we got to go on board with the 33 Stravado. I mean, the poor guy, he's just trying to make a pass for the lead. I mean,
just in front of the crash that happened, and we're trying to get a look at that, but he did a good job just shoving the 29. He knew if he pulled out, he wasn't gonna have he wasn't gonna give either himself or Angelo a chance. And he stays committed even through all this until Horonis decides to go high himself. And then he sees a gap to the bottom to maybe win and just closes up with the 24, and he killed the inside wall.
So we'll go even further back here and try to get a look at what happens here with Ben Bafford, the 09 and Klinger. This is going to go into turn 3.
The issue with all these guys is they tried to go side by side to get to the front of the pack, when in reality they should have tried to side draft less, because this just got everyone two side by side, and it looked like McWhorter kind of turned Bafford there, and Jeff Wright got a big piece of that. McWhorter was able to get away, but Wright did not get a good finish through all this, and neither did Bafford, who was kind of up front this entire race. And bam, right there, there's a hit. And then bam, big block, and then there's a door bang, and there's a crash. They were door banging for about 5th, too, with Caleb Weekly. And I think that was Ray Massey for 5th.
Well, post-race interviews with your top 3. We finally settled it. Adam Cabot's going to win in overtime. Angelo Horonis and Bailey Turner will be up here in the booth. We'll have those final results for you, but we're going to take a quick commercial break here on Vspeed. You're watching the Saturday Night Racing League. More coverage after this.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs.
From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items.
Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Introducing Tractor USA, the best way to buy and sell premium ag and construction equipment. Tractor USA was designed to be straightforward, simple, and affordable with zero commission and live auctions every week. Tractor USA auctions offer the finest selection of pre-owned tractors, combines, and other ag and construction equipment from across the United States and the world. Simply go to tractorusa.com to get started today.
Back live from Talladega, the Saturday Night Racing League has concluded its 84 laps, those additional 3 on top, for a distance of over 230 miles here today. Adam Cabot was victorious, and the blocks ensued on that final restart. Cabot and Bailey Turner had pulled out about half a second over the rest of the field, but it came down to just 7 100ths between him and Angelo Horonis as they crossed the line. Horonis, of course, involuntarily pushing the 17 past the stripe. Then it's Turner, Stravado, Massey for that top 5. Man, what a finish. Caleb Weekly's going to bring it home 6. Congrats to him on a great finish. Lurking back there outside the top 10 most of the day. Finds himself up here at the very end when it counts the most. Then you have Gavin Pittman in the 7th spot. Max Cost in 8th. Mark McFadden, I believe, best finish here for the 5. He's going to get 9th. And Joseph McWhorter will round out your top 10.
And big points for McWhorter over Jeff Wright as we'll look just inside the top 20 was where the 48 finished, but we'll get to him. Jerry Bergeron spun out. It didn't bring out the yellow. He recovered to 11th. Mark Whitley got the pole, but he didn't really dominate this race like we saw at Daytona. He finished his 12th. Chuck Sweeting recovered for 13th with maybe a somewhat clean race car. He might have been in that crash, but a lot of other drivers were, so we won't chalk that up to his bad luck. Brendan Fetter placed, even with all the issues he had, 14th. Alex Bell, he was a modified, but somehow he finished 15th, so not a terrible day, all things considered, for him. Nick Alford was in some crashes. Almost everyone in this race was involved in a crash at one point or another. Alford 16th, Philip Brewer 17th, Keith Shoemaker 18th, started 29th, finished 18th. We got to look at who the biggest mover was as well. Chad Klinger fell to 19th, and Jeff Wright, a big hit in the points. That lead might be down to double digits, or single digits, excuse me. He finishes all the way back in 20th.
Gavin Pittman, he started 24 positions back from 7th spot. Do the math on that. That's about 32nd position.
He started, iRacing shows him starting 31st, finishing 7th. So that's 24 positions. Hronis went 25th to 2nd. That's 23 positions. Max Cost went 30th to 8th. That's 22. So I think just barely Gavin Pittman's going to have it.
21st is going to go to Stefan Davis in the 66. Kyle Peacock, who led some laps here today. The 83 is going to finish 22nd. Ben Bafford, of course, you remember that 23 car getting turned going into turn 3. It was 4 wide there as they came out for that final lap. Daryl Young is going to finish 24th. Bryce Shoemaker, who got spun to bring out that green-white checker. Nick Starling, who popped an engine here today, 27th. Casey Lakatos, Reggie Ortega, Julio, I'm going to butcher this again. I'm sorry about this. Villalobos, I believe, is how I'm going to go with that. And then it's going to be Mike George for the top 30 here. And 3 more cars. And, of course, these guys out of the day here. Brandon Wallace, Joshua Banks, and Robert Denton all taking early exits from this race tonight. But, man, what a finish. And we got some top 3 drivers to talk to here on Pit Road. We have Bailey Turner in the number 24.
Turn chat.
Well, Bailey, you're getting pretty used to being up here in the Vspeed booth here lately. We talked to, I believe it was at BTDY just a few moments ago. Here you are in the top 3 yet again. Oh, I tell you what, that Celsius 24, it was the car to be pushed by or push. I mean, you were up front all day.
Yeah, no, it's all the shout out goes to the teammates. Really, felt like a lot of those guys, we really worked well together, and me and Adam, I mean, I don't know what we have going for the last couple of years together with this plate package, but every time we come into a race, I feel like we're, you should put us in the top 2 favorites. How well we work together, how well we push. I mean, like you guys saw at the end of the race, we got, I mean, obviously a little luck there with what happened to Chad, but how far out we got ahead of the pack there, and I was committed to him, and unfortunately, the temps got a little too high right there at the end of the lap, to where I couldn't commit to pushing him, and I didn't want to break our momentum too early, and I had to pull out at the last minute, or I was going to blow up. So, yeah, I just wish there was a different set of circumstances where I could have not pushed my car to the very brink, and had a chance to really make a solid move on him there coming to the end. But you can't be too mad with a P3, and you got the teammates all finishing 1 through 4, and I think Gavin Pittman might have even just won something today with his starting in the back and driving all the way to the front. So I'm happy for him, and yeah, just unfortunate for Jeff and Reggie and Ben and some of the guys that didn't have as much luck. But yeah, this play package is so fun, that it's nothing like this when you watch it on TV. But iRacing has this thing pretty fun, and creates battles all over the place, and you're not stuck 2 by 2. You can really, make a lot of hay and do a lot of moves. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's it's difficult to translate that. We try our best here on Vspeed to show all of the different runs and the action. I mean, you guys are getting surges of speed. There's a couple times that you guys ran up through the middle, and it just looked like, even with the side force, like the car just got kind of squeezed out of the tube, and you guys shot to the front. That happened several times today. Was there anyone in particular? Was it Adam the whole time, or was there anyone else that you saw out there that maybe was matching what you guys were doing?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, everybody pretty much in our Discord there. I mean, Angelo, we were the fastest guys in practice. We really worked really well together. Adam, Ben, Ben and I, for whatever reason, sometimes it just couldn't get connected the way we wanted to. And of course, Jeff. I mean, Jeff, he's good with those crazy big pushes. And realistically, the middle is not where you want to be in a lot of these situations, unless both the top and the bottom get checked up. Just because you're getting side drafted on both sides, and it really puts you in a aerodynamic disadvantage. But yeah, like you said, once you get a couple guys connected that really know how to push and stay connected, and you can trust. That's the biggest thing. Is a lot of guys can push a little too hard in the corner entries or in the tri-oval or corner exit, and that's really where I'm sure I haven't got to go back and watch, but I'm sure that's where some of those cautions came, is some of those checkups or pushing too hard in entry or exit, and just those little mistakes that you never want to do that too early in the race and cost yourself. But down at the end, it's like you kind of got to do it to put yourself in the best position. And working with a guy like Adam, that always works out really well. So pump for him, pump for our team, and yeah, I can't wait to go back and watch this.
And one last thing, I got to ask, you had pushed Adam Cabot probably about 5/10 ahead of the rest of the field there, and you had a bunch of hungry hippos behind you. That's all I can equate it to. You guys were able to still somehow, with the door banging and the blocking and whatever else, come out on the podium. What was going through your mind coming out of turn 4 with Angelo Horonis and AJ Servato coming fast?
Yeah, you never really, they were so far back that it was kind of tough to gauge how much of a run they were going to have. And like I said, my car was on the brink of blowing up out of 4, so I had to make my move probably, a quarter of a lap too early and that gave Adam a chance to kind of get down on my door and side draft me back. So to be honest, I was hoping that, pushing him back up, that would have been one of those, I think it was a Blaney block on like Stenhouse or Eric Jones or somebody, that they kind of blocked him up to the wall and they got connected and he ended up winning. I was hoping it would be one of those situations, but almost, yeah. But Angelo's really smart. He kept it clean and we all salvaged a great finish there. And I managed to hit AJ, so that was that's always fun to piss AJ off just a little bit.
Well, I mean, we live for that as well here on Vspeed. Bailey, while we have you up here in the booth, though, is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, obviously the sponsors and everybody that came on to make this race so fun, and all putting together the competition and everything. And it was at the 29. Was that 29
Yeah.
graphics? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
So appreciate that. Was really a fun incentive, and a little mad that Ben kind of we were in
Ah,
the he got me there at the end. Said he was getting really hot, so I was trying to be a good teammate and try to give him a little room. And I think he might have snookered me out of a little bit of money there, but it is what
yeah.
it is. Yeah, can't be too mad. So yeah, thanks to you guys in the broadcast, you and Connor. It's really fun to go back and watch this stuff. And yeah, congrats to the teammate.
We appreciate your time. Bailey Turner, 3rd place here tonight at Talladega. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week at Vegas.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Moving on down pit road, we have another driver that probably feels a little bit more salty about the situation, but Connor Horn's down there with your 2nd place finisher, Angelo Horonis.
I am with Angelo Horonis. I don't know if he's going to be salty about the situation. It's not Angelo's vibe, but either way, a runner-up finish. Angelo's so close. Didn't lead a lap, but he almost came close to leading the most important lap, but came just a little bit short. How crazy was that final lap? Because it seemed like everyone third on back got jumbled up, but you and AJ got through to at least have a run at it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I gotta thank AJ for that because if it wasn't for that, we definitely wouldn't have been there at the end. But yeah, I was actually planning on trying to work with the 23 to get up there because I feel like we could have locked bumpers and made a run, but he ended up going high, I guess, to catch their draft. And I understand, but I feel like if he just stayed a little low, we just stay together, we would have went by them. But yeah, racing overall though, it was, I mean, fun definitely, but the runs that you can get in these cars, it's just insane. Like during practice, we were able to go up to like 207 or 208, and we were able to replicate that in the race too. So there was just a lot of factors that went into some of the moves we were able to make. But yeah, if anything, I'm just happy to survive at the end, let alone get a 2nd place finish.
Survival definitely came into play, especially with the crash into turn number 3. You talked about how big the runs were and how crazy the racing is in this next-gen car, and it's probably a reason as to why it was picked for the super speedways. How tough is it to keep track position? How tough was it for you this race? Because, like you said, the runs are so crazy. We saw back and forth all race long, and we saw a lot of accordioning up when we saw drivers get away from the field, then come back. It seems like the stack-ups can be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, especially on that bottom line. I think that was right before we were about to enter pit road for refueling. That I was gonna say everyone behind us, they just decided to go high, and just the runs they were able to get, it was insane. So yeah, it was very unpredictable. So we had to factor that in. But yeah, I mean, compare this to the Xfinity card that we usually run. The difference between these two, especially the plate tracks, is insane. But yeah, still had a good time tonight.
Definitely a good time for you. Runner-up finish, a decent day, no doubt. So congratulations on that finish. Anyone you want to thank? Anyone you want to shout out?
Yep. First, want to thank my teammate in the winner, Adam Cabot, on that. So good for him. Also, my other teammates tonight, Reggie, Ben, Gavin, Bailey, AJ, Jeff, Reggie, and Nick Starling. You guys for putting on a great broadcast, and everyone that helps put this league together.
Well, congratulations on another good finish for you, Angelo. Another top 5 adding on to your total this season. So congratulations on a good run. Thanks for talking to us, and we'll see you in the coming weeks.
Great. Thank you.
That's your second place finisher, Angelo Horonis, in the number 29. That finally brings us to Vspeed Victory Lane. Adam Cabot is your winner. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Adam, I
Man.
think I shouted for
I know it was exciting, but man.
3 laughs, man. I channeled my inner Alec Martinez and lost my voice.
Oh, that'll do
but
it.
I tell you, man, you put on some blocks, you put on some door banging, you had a lot of friends that, when it comes down to those last, 1,400 feet, you just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, pretty much. That was a lot of fun. It was a typical Adam Cabot, like horrible execution race that just somehow sort of worked out at the end. I wasn't even paying attention at the start, so I missed the start.
Well
So
done.
yeah, so that wasn't great, but luckily a couple other guys did too. So at least didn't go a lap down there. And then for the last pit stop, like I swear I unchecked auto fuel. Maybe after you uncheck auto fuel, you have to also add fuel back. I don't know. I really don't know how that works. But somehow I took like 5 less gallons and had no chance of making it to the end. So I was like mega saving, thinking maybe I could like end up making it. Got saved by that caution, and then it was just kind of full aggression from that point on. And like you mentioned, we had a bunch of us trying to work together in Discord. But it honestly is kind of challenging once you get more than just like 1 or 2 other guys you're trying to work with and trying to make sure everyone gets clear and all that. But really, there actually wasn't too much of that besides from just the fuel strategy. Like while the race was going green, towards the end, the last couple of restarts, it was just a free for all. And yeah, just not going for points or anything. So just maxed aggression and probably bump drafted a little bit too hard a few times. I know I hit McWhorter into Ben, and Ben almost wrecked. Luckily, it was Ben, so he was able to save it. But yeah, then the last lap, Bailey's telling me to go middle. He's trying to kind of guide where I'm going. I'm like, look, if it's the last lap and we're tandeming for the win, the only rule is you can't pass me on the outside if you're telling me to go low. And luckily they all got jumbled up behind us, so we got like a half-second lead on the pack. And I guess he said he got hot off 4, which is why he made his move a little bit early. And plus off 4, that's fair game at that point. Anything goes. So I moved high off 4 to protect my outside, because it's definitely you want to protect the right rear more than anything. Coming to the finish, and yeah, we banged doors. It was an awesome finish, and I saw Angelo coming with just like a massive 10-mile-an-hour faster run, and I knew that I had one chance to kind of dart in front of him and use his momentum to propel me across the line. So yeah, it kind of looked like Bailey hit me up there, but no, I turned right at the last second. I'm like, if I time this just perfect, he'll catapult me across the line. And sure enough, it actually all worked out. So yeah, a lot of fun and cool to get a win this season.
Yeah, it was in good fashion too. I mean, everyone come out the other end. Servato, of course, gets kind of the worst end of the deal, but still 4th place. And you guys coming into tonight, I just want to say that you might have found a loophole in the whole scenario with the 29 graphics and the most positions gained by missing the grid. Had you just started there to begin with, Adam, you would have been the biggest mover and been awarded, I believe, an extra paint scheme in your arsenal there.
Well, I didn't even know that was a thing until about lap 25, and then someone told me. So there was no there was no 40 chess move of me missing the start. That was I literally was fumbling with audio settings. I looked up and it said miss start, and I was like, okay, well that's not a great way to kick this thing off. But yeah, that like I said, all kind of just worked out at the end, and yeah, it was fun. I'm glad that we got a 1, 2, 3, 4 finish for the guys we were working together in our Discord, and yeah, just a lot of fun.
Well, Adam, congratulations. I know that it's rare that you have the opportunities here on Saturday, and you got a lot going on even on Tuesdays. So glad to have you back up here in the booth. I know you got them out there supporting you. Go ahead and shout them out.
Oh yeah, everyone who watches my races, and like I mentioned, everyone we're working with in Discord, we all work together so well tonight. And it was cool to have a clean finish there at the end. So yeah, and of course thanks to Jeff and everyone who puts this league on and gives us all an opportunity to race on Saturday nights, and Vspeed of course too for put on the broadcast. It's always fun to take part.
And we appreciate you for bringing your time up here into the booth, and congratulations. Carry this momentum wherever you may take it, and hopefully we can see you back at Dover one day. I would like to see that happen again, but
I hope so.
We'll be here at Vegas. Hopefully you can make that show as well. We're going to go roll some dice.
Sounds good. All right, thanks Bradley.
Adam Cabot, winner here tonight from Talladega, and the season just on the unwind here. 3 races left to go. Connor, I know that the SNR has put on its inaugural season, and it was in good fashion. We had how many different winners, how many different drivers that got laps led. There's just so many statistics that we went over. We can actually bring that up on your screen here for just a moment. We're going to recap all the things that we went through there just last season, and it was always, I mean, all the way through. Well, there's Clark Print Shop, but all the way through the season, it was just moment after moment, and things that most leagues might see in 7 or 8 seasons. They did it all in one season with how many things they accomplished.
Yeah, that's been a crazy season to date. Like last season, with the Gen 4 cars, it was just wild back and forth action most races, and even with the Xfinity car and the Cup car at the super speedways, it's been no different. There's been crazy finishes, leaders wrecking, 3rd place winning. We've had some dominating drives, but we've had even more different winners. Adam Cabot's the 6th different winner in the last 6 races, I believe. It's been pretty crazy. Obviously, Jeff Wright's been the dominant force of Saturday Night Racing League with poles and wins and the season 1 title.
Last season, of course, yes.
And obviously laps led, but last season, a lot of different players. Some players who were at the front last season stayed at the front this season, but we've had a fair share of newcomers come to the front. We've also seen some other drivers improve on their season 1 status, like Joe McWhorter. He had the 1 pole last season, the 2 wins. He's even improved from that. Joshua Banks also improved from 1 win to at least a couple. Had a bad run tonight, but in McWhorter's case, he just keeps getting better. He's definitely put himself in the title fight for season 2 right now.
We hope you guys enjoyed tonight's broadcast here on Vspeed. If you did, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You'll never miss a single race. We have 3 races left to go here at SNR. That's Las Vegas, Nashville Super Speedway, and Phoenix, all at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also tune in to catch the Sunoco Cup Series, the Overtake iRacing League. They're going to take a week off here. They'll be back a week from now. And QSR simulations Tuesdays and Thursdays, so plenty of racing left to go around into the summer. It's going to be June the next time that we see you. For everybody here from Vspeed, Adam Baker does all the things in the background, Eddie Smith, Morgan Cook, Logan Threlkeld, Christian Hill, and for Connor Horn, my co-commentator, this is Bradley Cooper telling you to have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the 500 and the Coke 600. We'll see you next time.